All right, welcome to a new episode of Opening Bid Unfiltered. I'm Yahoo Finance executive editor Brian Sozzi, and like I always say, this podcast, it will make you a smarter investor. And I find it somewhat funny. I'm about to talk to my next guest, please. I don't get a lot of sleep, and that is really by design. I don't have trouble sleeping. I just don't get a lot of sleep. I'm just always up watching the stock market, waiting for breaking news. But I'm excited to talk to our next person, our next featured guest here. That is 8 Sleep co-founder and CEO, Matteo Franceschetti. Matteo, good to see you. I appreciate you coming on. It feels like I'm always seeing your ads for your sleek, elegant 8 Sleep pod and system on my Instagram feed. So I'm glad we're finally able to do this. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
All right. So full disclosure, I have not tried the pod, but I know a lot of CEOs that I talk to, they are using this. What did you realize sleep was broken and it needed to be fixed in some capacity?
Well, the first thing I started thinking is why Elon Musk is taking me to Mars and I still spend a third of my life on a piece of dumb foam. That is how everything started, right? At the end of the day, if you're going to live 100 years, you're going to spend 30 years in sleep. And we just pretend to go to bed, lie down on a piece of foam, and wake up 8 hours later fully refreshed. That didn't make sense to me.
What did you misunderstand? So you're building this company. I mean, it's not like you created this overnight. You founded it, 2014? Is that
2015, right? Yeah, we launched in 2015, so 10 years ago.
So 10 years ago, what did you as you've been developing 8 Sleep, what was misunderstood about sleep that you've been figuring out?
The importance of temperature. Mm-hmm. And in 2 dimensions. First is what customers really want. So 80% of couples, they fight around temperature. So you have a partner and the partner wants it warm or cold, and you want exactly the opposite. And so every night you kind of fight about that. And that is the consumer-facing part. And then there is plenty of medical evidence that temperature is the biggest factor impacting your sleep quality for normal people outside sleep medical disorders.
Do you get a lot of sleep?
A lot. I slept 8 hours and 32 minutes last night.
Oh, jealous. I don't even know what that feels like. I mean, do you, and we're going to get into the business. I mean, I can't help myself. Like I am very fascinated by the sleep fitness industry that you are pioneering. Yeah. Do you plan sleep as you plan your workday? Do you know when you're going to bed? I mean, take me through your sleep process?
Yeah, I'm obsessed. And by the way, I just came back from China where I was for work. And I have 0 jet lag. So everything is designed around my sleep in my life. But last night we went to sleep very early because we were still a bit jet lagged. We went to sleep at 8:30 p.m., very, very early. And then we woke up around 6:30 a.m. this morning. But I could have kept sleeping. I just pushed myself to wake up because I had to start the day. But I could have slept 9 hours.
Yeah, this is a fascinating time to do what you do. You mentioned you're focused on temperature, but I look at my friends over at AG1, for example. They just came out with a sleep supplement, and they're not alone. Is there sleep overload? Like, do we need all of this stuff, or is more the merrier? Should I be taking the AG1 sleep supplement and sleeping on your 8 Sleep pad or mattress?
Yeah. I mean, one thing I like to say is every night you take the equivalent of a trip from New York to Milan. 8 hours is what it takes more or less from New York to Milan, right? So it's a pretty big deal. And so spending, 30 minutes to prepare that journey, that trip every single night is fairly important. Then in our case, you have to do nothing. You just go to bed and we do the work for you. Call us the sleep buckler. And then there are other products that maybe you might want to take or not to help you fall asleep or to stay asleep. But I think investing 30 minutes or a few bucks every single day to maximize 8 hours of your day is a pretty big deal.
The industry is so, I mean, the sleep industry is huge. You mentioned these foam mattresses, and there's other companies that compete with you, and there's supplements. Has it been easy to raise money?
Well, it really depends. Meaning, in different phases of the company, it was very easy in the early days. Then it became extremely difficult because a few investors wanted to invest in consumer tech. And then in the last year, it has been easier. because the company got to a point where we have so many metrics about now our margin, our growth, that is just clearly a business judgment.
Do you view yourself as more of a hardware player or software? Because there's a whole software component to what you do as well.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's all about AI and data. That's what we do. We are becoming one of the largest sleep databases in the world, and based on the data we collect, we optimize the sleep of millions of people.
How will AI change, the product roadmap for 8 Sleep over the next few years?
Well, it's pretty incredible what we start seeing. Some of our models are literally becoming smarter than us because they're able to triangulate data across multiple dimensions. But on one side, AI is making us better at optimizing your sleep. So we change your temperature 30 to 100 times per night based on different variables. And so we are becoming much better than that. But more than anything, now there are hundreds of Matteo on the cloud. We call them a digital twin. And these digital twins are simulating my life for the next 10 to 20 years and coming back every day to me with a recommendation about what I can change to live longer.
Where do you think the next big breakthrough is for 8 Sleep? Is it the software on the app, or is there a new hardware component? I for example, now you recently put like a button on the cover for the mattress, and I was reading reviews. I'm like, that was like a big deal. You don't have to pick up your phone, because we were picking up our phone, and I guess that defeats the purpose of trying to get some sleep. But now you put a button on it, and that was a big deal. What's next on that frontier?
Well, it's both hardware and software. Where you will see the biggest breakthroughs is definitely software with AI. I think we will start saving more lives. We already saved a bunch of lives, but we'll save more. We will extend the life of people. Just imagine that you will have a 24/7 PhD level doctor reviewing your data in real time and providing this advice to live longer. But also on the hardware side, we are working on different types of products that will help you to, again, improve your sleep and save your life.
A lot of my friends, they knew you were coming on, so they hit me with some questions. I'm just going to fire them at you. It's really more they're just interested. I mean, they're really getting into sleep. Number one, you're getting a lot of data. What's the one insight that contradicts popular sleep advice?
Well, the biggest one is that there is this, we just discovered and we published a study where the phone is not the problem for you, using the phone before going to bed. It's not the phone itself the problem, is the content you consume. So if you're on your phone talking to your best friend about an amazing memory, it's completely fine. It's not going to disrupt your sleep. Or instead, if you're on your phone fighting with your boss and risking to be fired, then probably you will not sleep very well.
Well, speaking of bosses, that's my next one. What are these CEOs and athletes? What are they getting wrong about sleep? I can't tell you, Matteo, how many CEOs that I talk to, they're still not sleeping. They are that power CEO where they're not like you. They're not getting 8 hours and 30 minutes of sleep. I mean, they're getting 3 hours. They're sending emails at midnight and they're winging it the next day.
Yeah. Well, so I like to say sleep deprivation is the new smoking. I think that is where we are. Then if you go back to the 90s and the early 2000s, there was this macho concept where, I'll sleep when I'm dead. I think nowadays things are really changing. And CEOs, they are taking care of their health because they understand that to really have cognitive performance during the day, they need to take care of their nutrition, their fitness, and their sleep. So now we have, and this is public, customers like Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, all of them sleeping on our product. But you should assume that probably 80 to 90% of CEOs in Silicon Valley use our product every single night to maximize their sleep performance. So it's a trend that is changing, and there is this big tailwind that is pushing our growth.
What was it like when you heard that Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg were using your product?
And that was pretty cool. I have to admit it. I'm a big fan. We are big fans of Elon and everything he has done. And so him disclosing publicly that he likes the product was pretty exciting.
You have a lot of data. I mean, how do you think about protecting so much of this really important data? I mean, you really know, how we're spending essentially more than 8 hours of our lives every day.
Yeah. If you keep sleeping on our product for a very long time, we will be able to see directionally all your trends. And so our technology will be able to predict strokes, will be able to see if you're developing sleep apnea, it will be able to see if you have arrhythmia. So the end goal here is to transform your bed with our technology in a health machine and really unlock the future of preventative health. And so again, our goal is to compress your sleep. So what if you could sleep only 6 hours and get more rest than when you were sleeping 7 or 8? And second is, how can we unlock the future of preventative health and help you live a longer, healthier life?
Is that the next frontier for industries like yours? And I look at what's happening, for example, over at Whoop. I wear the Whoop strap, and now I can have it linked up to my medical records. Is that the next frontier where products like yours are linked up with my doctor's office, and they, to your point, can offer preventative things? Like if they see me sleeping differently, they can offer maybe medicine and get out in front of any potential problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And they will see two things. First, okay, they can see you sleeping differently, and so they can provide recommendations about what to change. But the other thing is they will also see trends about your cardiovascular system and your breathing rate. And there is where they can help you with recommendations and insights. The other thing we did, and this is public, we filed for FDA approval. So we are entering into the sleep apnea space. Our device is able to track and tell you immediately if you have sleep apnea, and then we develop certain technologies to also mitigate sleep apnea. As you know, there are 80 million people with sleep apnea diseases, and that is a fairly dangerous disease.
No, really. I mean, when do you find out about approval? How does that work?
So we started the process, so now we'll have to go through that with the FDA, and we are running additional clinical studies. We already ran a bunch, and we should be able to get an approval fairly fast.
That's cool. All right, hang with us, Matteo. We're going to go off for a very short break. We'll be right back on Opening Bid Unfiltered. All right, welcome back to Opening Bid Unfiltered, talking all things 8 sleep. Matteo, your product is cool. I definitely need to try it because that is one of my focus points this year in 2026. I need to start getting to bed at a reasonable time and staying asleep. I find your business, you co-founded this with your wife?
Yeah.
How does that work? How do you separate these two things?
Yeah, we have now our own tools. So, for example, everything business is on Slack, but everything personal is on WhatsApp. Mm-hmm. And then we have rules like, so I think about work all the time. And so and in her case, sometimes, I don't know, 9:30, 10 p.m., she doesn't want to think about work anymore. And so she said, look, you wouldn't be talking about work with one of the other executives, right? It's not that you call them at 10 p.m. unless there is something very, very urgent. And I say, yeah, that's true, but I can still Slack them. And so sometimes we're on the couch watching TV and I'm Slacking her from my phone and I can hear her phone vibrating, but I cannot talk about the topic because I need to be respectful. So we have all these kind of things. Or sometimes I might be on Slack pushing to get something done faster, and in the meanwhile I'm WhatsApp asking what we are going to have for dinner. So we really we have 2 compartments. One is business and one is personal life.
What is the benefit of working with your significant other? I mean, in a company, you've built this company from scratch. Do you view it as your secret weapon versus other competitors who may not have this dynamic and a dynamic that doesn't work as well?
Absolutely. And I tell you why. You have 2 co-founders that after 10 years, they're still living in the same house and
that's a good thing.
The same place. And they're thinking about that 24/7, right? By now, normally co-founders have reached a point where they have different lives. They live in different places. Here is like literally like day one. We're still here pushing every single day.
Why are you so passionate about the sleep industry? I mean, is this something you studied in school? Did you see yourself getting into it?
No, I actually used to be a lawyer. I was in finance as a lawyer working for 2 very large law firms. But I used to be an athlete when I was a teenager. I have always been in performance and recovery. And now I'm really into doing everything I can for my health and longevity. And if you zoom out, health is really based on 3 pillars. There is sleep, there is fitness, and there is nutrition. But at the end of the day, sleep is the foundation, because if you are sleep deprived, you will crave junk food and you will not have the energy to exercise. And so sleep is key for me and my view of longevity and health.
You mentioned that you visited China. This has been an interesting 12, 18 months. I mean, you have China tariffs, you name it, a lot of uncertainty. I mean, how is it like dealing with suppliers on the ground nowadays, especially at a company at a young age like yours?
Yeah. It's much more normal than probably what many people think here in the US, meaning the working relationship. We have a team there. I lived in China 10 years ago when we had to start the team. And some of those people are still with us. So for us, the relationship has been very successful. Obviously, there were changes in the tariffs, but we were able to respond to that, and the business is stronger than ever.
Can you make what you sell in the US? I mean, I see a product like yours. I mean, it's a premium product. It's got a killer app. I mean, could you just make everything here? Does that manufacturing capacity exist?
No, and the reason is the supply chain. Meaning, can you have a factory here and build the same? You could, but the whole supply chains and all the components, they will still come from China. And so there is where it's very tricky to move part of our production here. And then over time, we will do it, and we will be even more American based.
How do you see this all at the end of the day shaking out? Do you see consolidation in this industry? Like, I'm on the outside looking in, but I see something like you. Why not join forces with a supplements company? I mean, you just full on dominate every area of the sleep industry. Is that where this is all headed?
Well, you will see some companies doing really well, like us, potentially going IPO on their own. Then you will see others consolidating and merging together. So I think it will be a mix of both. But I think there is room for probably 2 to 3 companies to be really big and be public companies.
Would you be? I mean, does an IPO? And I've been getting a lot of different answers from startups. I mean, startup founders on the IPO question. I mean, do you want to IPO? Does that still have an appeal to you?
It does. I think for a consumer business, it still makes a lot of sense because you're perceived as a brand that people can really trust. And it also brings discipline to a company just by following the typical public company standards. So I think it's a good thing to do. You just need to be ready, and it needs to be the right time. We don't need to rush it. But at a certain point, I think it will be part of our goals.
But key to it, I mean, you have annual recurring revenue via the app. I mean, that's a huge selling point, right?
Yeah. We have the hardware component, and then we have the recording software component, and so the business is pretty well diversified.
I have at the end of the podcast, I always leave a little bit of a around the horn session. I got a bunch of fun questions for you. I got to ask. I'm obsessed with the sleep fitness industry. One, Matteo, what's one prediction about sleep or health that sounds absolutely crazy today, but you think will absolutely happen?
Well, as companies like Neuralink will start implanting chips in our brains, a part of our job will be to develop software for sleep for those chips.
Hold on a second. I didn't expect that one. So you think Elon is going to really? I mean, he has implanted chips. I mean, he's driven some amazing stories initially with this. That's where we're headed.
I think so. I think you should expect that in 20 years from now, millions of people will have chips implanted, and Sleep will be developing software for sleep enhancement that can just be downloaded in those chips.
Okay, hold on. So let's say we're at 15 years from now. I have one of these Neuralink chips in my head. By then, I'm like, I don't know, I'm probably over 60, let's just say. You will be able to send me a pulse to my brain saying, Brian, get your ass to sleep? That's what you're telling me?
Yeah, I think you will be able to get the maximum sleep recovery in 4 hours through a sleep optimization software that is installed on your chip.
The future cannot get here quick enough. Another one for me. Just can't. Just going to speed up time. We need this stuff. I need this stuff. What advice would you give to founders who are building in categories that people underestimate? I was reading the backstory on you and 8 Sleep and what you've been building. I mean, people told you no a lot. They thought you were selling a mattress. They didn't really get the product initially.
Yeah. Well, you need to be contrarian and right. When we started working on sleep was not a topic at all, right? It's very similar to what you were saying. People were saying, oh, I'll sleep when I'm dead. I can work. No, I can function with only 4 hours of sleep. And so you need to be contrarian and see things that other people don't see, and they believe they are actually crazy. But then you also need to be right, and so they need to manifest as you expected over time.
What country is getting the best sleep, and why do you think that's the case?
Is Australia, a specific area in Australia. I think it's called the golden something. And there is where we see the highest sleep quality score, sleep fitness score.
What does a perfect night of sleep even look like?
Well, it's somewhere between 7 to 9 hours, honestly 8 to 9 hours if it's perfect. You get 15 to 20% of that time in deep sleep and 20 to 25 in REM and very little interruptions.
Lastly, Matteo, if we're having this conversation 12 months from now, what else will have 8 Sleep develop, whether it's on the app or the hardware front? So you have the covering that goes over the mattress. You have that cool looking pillow. I'm going to call it a pillow topper. I apologize if it's not the exact right term. You've got all these new functions in the app. What else is coming?
Yeah, there will be new hardware products that keep enhancing your sleep and health. There will be new software and AI-driven features that can really help you live a longer life. So this concept of digital twin. And we will be an FDA-approved device for detection and mitigation of sleep apnea.
Well, good luck on the road ahead. Again, this is an industry I am fascinated with. Matteo, I look forward to staying in touch, and I appreciate you taking the time, and I don't get to sleep. And I got to get to sleep too. I mean, for a change. I appreciate it.
Get some sleep tonight.
Yes, I will. Matteo, thank you so much. And that is it for the latest episode of Opening Bid Unfiltered. As always, I thank you for tuning in. Continue to hit me with all those likes on YouTube and all the feedback on social media and the podcast platforms. I love the feedback. It makes me better at doing these interviews. We'll talk to you soon.